Are you new to homeschooling or perhaps thinking about this might be a good thing for you and came across this video? Well, if you did, hello and welcome. Because you know what? I know when we start looking at homeschooling, it's great to get some information and things out there. And there are so many great resources and we look at them and there's all these wonderful lists of things that we should be doing. And as we look at these lists of things that we should be doing, it can start to feel overwhelming and daunting, but it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't. Because what I want to do today is flip the script and actually look at what I feel are the top 5 things we should not be doing in homeschooling. And therefore, I think as we look at that, that will help us and everything else will fall into place. Hi, and welcome to Learning Life, and thank you for joining me today. If you are new, hello. My name is Michaela, and I am a trained teacher. I am a homeschooling mother. I am Australian, and I just have this heart to really help people as they look at things like education and parenting and all of that stuff that is in there. So thank you for being here today. And if you've been watching my videos before, thank you so much for that. It really means a lot to me. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes. And as you find value with it, thank you for sharing it with your friends. As I said, it truly means so much to me because this is my heart. I really want to be able to help people, especially with something like homeschooling, which I think is so wonderful. And I love being on this journey. And yes, am I still learning and tweaking as I go along? Of course. And absolutely, I always will be because, things change, and new information comes up or, great new things. But, it can be so easy to feel overwhelmed and daunted when we look at these lists of, you should be doing this and should be doing this and should be doing this. Now, I love lists. I really do, especially lists that I can mark off. But sometimes when the list is really long, it can cause me almost to shut down, be too much to think about. And I love to think. But, if we flip that and we sort of look at the things that we should not be doing, to me, that actually can be really helpful in sort of, working out what we do want to do. And so today I do want to look at the top 5 things not to do in homeschooling. Overscheduling. Now, when it comes to overscheduling, what I mean by this is that we look at it and we go, our state requires that we have, 4.5 hours. So I have to fill these 4.5 hours to the brim, of everything. And we start looking, we need this subject and this subject and this. And, it becomes too much, too many lessons, too much time sitting at the desk, too many worksheets. We are just overscheduling, over cramming everything in. Because if we look at if our children are at school, let's say for 6 hours, is that 6 hours full of instruction and actually sitting there doing the required tasks? It's not, okay? So we are not trying to replicate those 6 hours at home. And as we look at it, could you imagine having your kindergartner trying to do 4.5 hours of sitting there doing schoolwork? It's no, they're not going to be able to do it. They don't need that amount of instruction time. But there are things that we can be doing. We can say we've got an hour and then the rest is play and is craft and is all of these other different things which are vital to our learning and our children need it. As they get older, you sort of go, okay, out of the 4.5 hours, we're doing 2 hours worth of instruction and focused time. And the rest of it is dance or sport or play or, there are so many things that we can do. There are many rich experiences that are involved that aren't sitting at a desk. And that is one of the joys of homeschooling. I'm not saying don't do the required time. I'm just saying that there are ways of doing it without it being overscheduled and overcrowded with far too many things. Sticking with a curriculum you don't like. When it comes to curriculum, I know especially you've researched or your friends have really recommended and you've bought it and you've got it and it's not right. One of the things that I highly recommend is you don't stick with it if it's just sucking the life right out of you. If your children are not enjoying it, they are not going to want to come and sit and be learning from it. You are going to feel frustrated as well. You don't have to stick with that curriculum. Okay, change it up. I get it. You might have spent money on it. You can always sell it, okay? And just because it works for several of your friends, it doesn't necessarily mean it works for you and your children. And that is okay. Guess what? It might be even okay to not even use curriculum for a while. And I actually agree with that. And I actually have a video on that. Link is below. Okay, we don't have to stick with it. It might feel tempting or we've just got to push through, but we don't want the life sucked right out of us. So we do not have to stick with a curriculum that we do not like. Not involving your children. Even at a young age, you can involve your children in the decisions and the direction of homeschooling. Let them have a buy-in. I think we all know, as adults, if we have bought into something, we are more committed to seeing it happen. It's the same with our children. Even when my girls were little and we were looking at starting, kindergarten and their friends talking about going off to school, we were talking about homeschooling and what that looks like and did they want to do that? And you know what? It was yes. And every year we still talk to them about it. Is this something that you want to keep doing? Do you want to go into school? And apparently that's a big emphatic no, and they will not for the rest of their lives. They have told me that. That might change, but we keep that dialogue open. I find out from them, what do you want to learn about? Because I want them interested in what we are learning about. If they are interested in it, they're going to want to find that information and be part of it. If it's boring, especially one of them, oh, it's boring. She's not engaged. She doesn't want to. So if we are not involving our children, we actually have an issue. And I know that it feels tempting, but I'm making the decisions. I am the parent here. You and your partner, you're in this together. We're this is what we're doing. Great. Okay. You should be in agreement. There should be direction coming from you, but we also need to have our children buy into it. And if we want that good experience, we want them to be a part of it too. Moving too fast. Okay, this is one that I sort of have some struggles with, when I see. And I'm seeing it's an overall trend, okay, that we want to move our kids ahead further, get them through school quicker and having them read younger, having them do all of these skills earlier than perhaps they're even developmentally ready for, okay? We don't want to be moving them too far. Let them move at their own pace. That is great. Maybe it is slower for a while and then it speeds up. Maybe they can move through the curriculum and grades faster because you are more intent on, this is our focused time and they're learning quicker and easier. That is all great. But if we are trying to move them ahead into the grades, they should really be 3rd, 4th grade. And we say, no, but they're doing 8th grade work. If they're not fully ready for that, and even the themes that come up in the learning, that's not the best thing for them. Yes, as an educator, I get it. We want to see that. As a parent, we want to see that for our children, that they are moving forward. I'm saying don't move, but don't move too fast, okay? Because, in some of these other rabbit trails and holes that I find, in these studies, that they're really looking at, is there really a benefit of pushing and moving our children ahead earlier, than they need to be? A great book out there is called Better Late Than Early by Dorothy and Raymond Moore. I got a lot out of it as they really looked at, do they need to be reading at this age? And if they, don't, and it's actually okay if maybe they don't even start formal learning until they're 7. Oh my goodness. How that is. So moving our kids to try and get them, almost to finish schooling too soon for them, don't do it. Okay. Let them work at their pace. And if it's a little faster, great. If it's not, it's totally okay. Not making it fun and flexible. Don't get caught into the trap that we're sitting here at the desk and we've got to do it and this is how it is. All kids get field trips, right? That's one of the great things with homeschool. We can plan in these fun activities. There's field trips, there's play dates, there's co-ops. There's so many fun things that we can be doing. And so find what you're interested in. Find like these skills that you want to learn and go and find things that you can do that can be part of your homeschooling that brings in that fun. I know I want it to be fun. Those days where it feels like we've just got to get this done, come on, can be like the hardest, but in knowing that, hey, we can get all of this done and tomorrow we're going to meet with friends and we're going to go on a nature walk and do these things, that is truly wonderful. But also be flexible. Take stock of where your kids are at. Are they dragging? Or do they just seem tired? Guess what? Take a half day off, maybe 1 or 2 days. We've got an entire calendar year to get our 180 days of schooling in, or whatever your state or national requirements are. So there is flexibility. You don't have to set your breaks up with the same as the schools. If your kids need a break, do it. If you've been doing everything in the morning and they just need to do it for a while in the afternoon, then do it. Homeschooling has flexibility. As I look at these 5 things of not to do, I realize that everything else sort of falls into place, and it makes it easier for me to look at the things that we should be doing. Because, we should be doing these things and that's great. Or we could be doing those things, or it might be really nice, like if you do that. But if we look at these key things, these 5 top things of what not to do, for me, I feel that those things, the decisions are easier. We can step into things easier, and it's going to be a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable. Well, thank you so much for watching today. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below and I will answer them for you. And thank you so much for being part of this community, for being here today, and for sharing with your friends. And if you want to be able to help get these videos out, I'd love it. And you can do that. You can become a champion. And you can do that through patreon.com or through my website, LearningThis.Life.